February air, a winter's hush, a different kind of love, a sacred rush. For the roses is all the fleeting glance, before the scales and a fighting chance. We're the phoenix nesters watching from the wire, seeing shadows fall, fueling the fire. Every story buried, every silent tear becomes a promise whispered, conquering the fear. Oh, Lady Justice, can you feel the shift arise? A love for the truth deflected in our eyes. We're turning the pages, breaking all the locks. This is our true crime, resetting all the clocks. They sold you a story, a neatly packaged lie, but the threads are unraveling under a watchful sky. From the cold case files to the digital trace, we're finding a heartbeat in this forgotten space. Oh, Lady Taro space, can you feel the shift arise? A love for the truth deflected in our eyes. Returning the pages, breaking all the locks, setting all the clocks. From the ashes of silence, a new day is born. For every lost soul, a promise is sworn. The blindfold is lifted, steady and slow. A garden of justice is starting to grow. Shift to arise, pure justice. Shift to rise, Lady Justice.
Brian has been essentially convicted in the media. He has a right to have this information withheld, brought out in public, so that people can see it's not this neat little package. So people can start to wonder if Brian's innocent. Your Honor, Brian is innocent. So if I talk about things that are in the affidavit, and if I talk about things that we're seeking that the state wants to hide, I think that's fair game for the public to hear.
Hello, good afternoon, good happy Monday morning, February 2nd. I can't believe January flew by so freaking fast. I am so excited to be here. If you have never joined my stream before, welcome in. If you're new, let me know. We surely appreciate every single person that comes into our nest. And, honestly, I may not be for you. You may not be for me. And this is your out. I'm giving everybody an out. So here is where we rise above assumptions and get me. Some people send me rumors and I debunk them. And people even get mad that I debunk the rumors and I don't debunk them right. We think with open minds here. Every question matters. Every angle is welcome. And if this sounds like you, even you can make a mistake. We're all human. Welcome home. I've tried to make this the safest stream on the internet for us to talk about the IDAHO4, and it has been. My mods are absolutely amazing. I honor them on Mod Mondays with any donations that you give either here or on Venmo, Cash App, whatever it is. It all goes to them, and I'm so excited. So as soon as the payout's ready, they will be paid in the next few days. I'm not going to wait for the actual payday. I like to pay them out early. So welcome in. Thank you, mods, for being here, and this is going to rock your world. This stream is going to be talked about all over the freaking place. And welcome in all you OGs. Welcome in every single person. If you've never been to a stream, drop a 1. I'm interested to see who we have here. Hey, Becca, Artsy Gal, Polka Dots. Hey, guys. I guess you guys came in early. And Les, I see you there. Becca, Rebecca, good to see you, honey. Hope you're having a fantastic day. Hope everybody is warming up anywhere in the country that you are. And if you're too hot, that you're cooling down. I am almost over this freaking cold, and I am so thrilled about it. Marissa, good to see you. I'm waiting for your email. Go ahead and send me what you can, even if it's on Dropbox. Hey, Lulu Bell, good to see you. You are one of our best gifters. We appreciate you. Inked Mama, good to see you again. No talkie before coffee. Lisa. Yeah, somebody sat in the dentist chair. Oh, yeah, crowns take a long time. I get it. I had 3 done last year. I had 2 that needed to be replaced and a surprise one that... Amanda Rock, she might be getting some sleep. Is she even awake right now? I hope she is getting a nice, long sleep and restful sleep at that. Hey, 1-1, good to see you. Living Dead Girl, good to see you, Christy. And Caleb, of course, he is here. Welcome, my trusty mods. And yeah, we try to make it the safest place. And I hope that this stream is going to, I know, yeah, she did. She was working hard last night. And, you know, we've uncovered a lot of new stuff. I won't talk about it yet, that it will be a Phoenix Fireball drop. But how many of you like the new tunes? I mean, I wanted to make sure that we talked about, you know, there is a story that was sold in the media that is in the song. I'm sure you've heard of these time deltas. I wanted to make sure that we are resetting all the clocks because Lady Justice is bringing it on. Yes, if you listen to the song, go back and listen again. Lady Justice is bringing it. It's on. And the tide is shifting. And I'll tell you, when the tide starts to shift, those creators, you know, the ones that like to talk crap about other creators and start doing all kinds of crazy stuff, they're losing it. They're freaking losing it. I love it. I love it because you know what? I've got something to bring you that you're going to love. I just love the new music. I'm so excited. So I will make a video just with that music if you guys want to listen to it. I'm going to make a video on TikTok and share the hell out of that because you know what? I think it's important that, you know, these creators, I call them creators, that are starting to talk bad about us. They're like, oh, we're desperate housewives. Baby, I am nothing of a desperate housewife. I'll tell you. The only person I get desperate for is my husband, okay? And definitely not bored all day long, which made me make a new video that I'm going to upload to my Loafin' Home, and that's on the YT because I do other things. This is not my primary side gig, whatever you want to call it. So my YouTube channel is Loafin' Home. There are a couple of short videos that I have up there. I love baking. I love cooking. I love, you know, anything to do with DIY. I've got 2 videos up there. Let me just go ahead and show you that so you guys know, hey, where did Phoenix go? Because one day, not yet, I will probably get bored of this case when we find true answers and go back to my life before this 2 years of showing all this stuff with the IDAHO4. So I do have my Loafin' Home. I do make sure I take care of my husband, feed him well, and my service animal, which I absolutely adore. And yeah, that certain creator may be desperate for attention, but we're not going to give her attention. We're not going to give them attention because, you know, one of the main things that I had to really think about over this week when I was off yesterday, you know, has anybody, drop a 1 if you've ever wondered what the job of a defense attorney is? Have you ever wondered what a defense attorney does? Defense attorney, criminal attorney, whichever way you want to say it. Do you know what they do? They defend people who've been accused of a crime. Okay? Now, there's a certain creator out there that calls herself, there's my loaf and home, by the way. And I've got some great little videos up there. Okay, there's a plug for my I don't do anything. I'm such a bored, desperate housewife. Okay. Amanda, I was hoping you would still be asleep, but it's going to be an interesting day. Absolutely. Not only that, I do volunteer in many community events and donate my time. I'm glad I'm feeling better because everyone is asking. The scones, the scones, Lulu Bell. I got your address. I'm going to send them. And what I'm going to do is freeze them, send them to you. And I know you are somewhere close. I saw your address. And you can just unfreeze those and then warm them up or bake them for 5 minutes. So they're kind of par baked. So, and those are the lemon scones. What happened? How do I stop this? Something is not right here. Okay. Yeah, I pick my own lemons. I did like that. It's people who say I'm no fun. Boo. Boo on them. Okay? I know some of you are going to get it. All right. I don't know why that thing keeps playing. I can't see it. Okay, so there's my loaf and home. I do have loaf and home on TikTok too. So, one thing I'm making you hungry. Is it about lunchtime where you're at? I do most of my baking for a lot of people at about 4 a.m. You guys know I'm an early riser. I think most of that is probably because of the military. 5 o'clock is pretty early, but after a couple of years of being sick, the 8 o'clock was a sleep in. 11 o'clock, I could barely get out of bed. Now I'm back to doing so much better. Is there anything I can't do? There's a lot I can't do. As long as I have the gift of reading and research, boy, I'm your girl. And Amanda is your girl too. I'm telling you. I thought I was a good researcher. This girl is on fire. I am so honored for her to be one of our mods and on our team. I am so blessed to have her. So, getting back to the defense attorney, and a defense attorney is supposed to represent you, especially when you're accused of a crime, if you're charged, arrested, convicted, whatever. There are legal rights, and those legal rights are supported by the Constitution of the United States of America for those who are American citizens. And I get that defense attorneys, there are private defense attorneys who it costs money to go out and hire to get you the results you want. And I'm not going to lie, it's expensive. I've been in that situation. My husband has a few. It's expensive. It's expensive to prove your innocence. Okay? I'm just going to say that outright. It is expensive to prove your innocence. What happened? Somebody accused me of stealing my own freaking windows. I walked in there, gave my criminal defense attorney all the paperwork. Special attorney was assigned, came back to me and said, we're going to drop all charges and we're going to seal the record. We're sorry we've embarrassed you. They were lucky I didn't sue. So freaking lucky. Because this person accused me several things that weren't true. Caused me a lot of legal trouble. But you know what? In the end, it was worth it. It was worth it. So, yeah, state of Idaho. Guys, state of Idaho. Good old boy system broken. Broke it down. Now, there are different defense attorneys that work for a kangaroo system, if you know what I'm talking about. And that kangaroo system is the attorneys that are given to those who are deemed indigent or can't afford an attorney, or doesn't have the resources of a stash or use collateral in any assets to get a private attorney. And what happens with that is that you are pretty much shit out of luck. I'm just going to be the real raw Phoenix I am today, unscripted. You are pretty much shit out of luck if you get to a point where you have to get a public defender, because that public defender is probably a colleague of the attorney that has given you an attorney. And what happens in that case? Deals are made, plea deals under the table. Oh shit, we made a mistake. What can we do here? Yeah, folks, costs money. Costs money to prove your innocence. I'm just telling you the way it is. So when you see in this right here, the corner, you take a plea, because usually the court-appointed attorney is trash and doesn't care. No, they don't. Some are really passionate, some don't care. Some just don't care. And then you're up against a system that's paying your dollars, paying in your wallet, paying your bills, creating you to eat. And they can make it very uncomfortable if you see that your colleague attorney is doing the right thing and you're not. It can cause a lot of conflict. Yes, it can. So when I see a defense attorney out there on YouTube paid by a state funding, and they're advocating to lose our freedoms, man, I did not know that you guys were like so in tune with what I'm saying. What am I talking about? I made a post on YouTube. Remember, don't miss those. I did a post on YouTube talking about our constitutional right. What? And I said the case of Idaho v. Brian Koberger represents, in my view, a deeply troubling and highly public example of systematic failure within the U.S. justice system. From arrest through sentencing, serious constitutional concerns were raised, yet they received limited public scrutiny. Where were all these people that are supposed to be advocating for our rights? Outside of the defense counsel and Taylor, a few voices consistently challenged whether due process was being fully respected. Well, I don't think it was, because they went straight to a freaking grand jury. What does that mean? The prosecutor only has to present one side of the case, and that's his side. You don't get to answer anything. You can't say anything. They only go in front of the grand jury, and the grand jury decides. That process is antiquated and outdated. It doesn't prevent from wrongful convictions. And it's crazy how many wrongful convictions there have been in the history of Idaho. I mean, guys, in 2019, there was a case, and I don't know if you've heard about this case. I'm so passionate about right now. So freaking passionate. There is a case in Idaho, and let me just grab it because I want to make sure that you guys, if you haven't heard about it, that is the Wrongful Convictions Act in 2021. This case actually created a law, Wrongful Conviction Act in 2021 of Christopher Tapp. Does anybody remember that story? Let me pull it up for you. And one of my faithful viewers actually sent this to me and said, did you know about this? I remember seeing it before, hearing the name, but not really looking into it much. And yes, an exonerated Idaho man finally has his freedom. What came next was I can't even talk today. I'm so freaking wound up. Hopefully I won't crash out. So anyways, he was wrongfully convicted in 1998 for the 1996 rape and murder of 18-year-old Angie Dodge. He served 20 years into a coerced forced confession. And basically the 2019 new DNA evidence and genetic genealogy exonerated him. And then, mysteriously, he died from a head injury in 2023. Can you believe this? He reached the settlement of $11.7 million in the city of Idaho Falls in 2022 for his wrongful conviction. He had a head injury not more than a year later in Las Vegas, Nevada. Idaho Innocence Project helped him. It is freaking wild. A forced, coerced false confession. I'm telling you, if you don't know the people in your city, town, state, hall, whatever, you need to know them. Les says she'll never forget this case. Yeah, I was shocked. He died. It says he died in 2023 November in hold on a minute, Nevada, after his settlement. Not year after his settlement. Yep. He was found innocent. He was fully exonerated. And the DNA evidence identified the true killer. Come on, Idaho. I think we would all agree. Drop a 1 if you would agree Idaho needs to do a little bit better. Especially in the IDAHO4 case. Especially. My God. What another sad story. And now we hear the grumblings that, oh, they're going to move Koberger. They're going to do this. They're going to do that. It is absolutely wild. Are they telling us what they're going to do ahead of time before they do it? It boggles my mind. Boggles my mind. Some days, I just don't get it. But I digress. Remember, this little desperate housewife doesn't have much to do. But, you know, they say I don't talk about other things. So I talk about other things. Did you guys hear about Savannah Guthrie's mom in Arizona? I knew the moment. I knew the moment that it was reported that something was not right. She is immobile. And then we get this. Why am I have no sound?
To us, we believe now, saw some things at the home that were concerning to us. We believe now, after we processed that crime scene, that we do in fact have a crime scene, that we do in fact have a crime. This is a 84-year-old lady who suffers from some physical ailments, has some physical challenges, is in need of medication that if she doesn't have in 24 hours, it could be fatal. She did not leave on her own. We know that. We saw some things at the home that were concerning to us. We believe now, after we
So they went to the scene. They decided things were not right. And this is what a responsible sheriff's department does. They go and they investigate. Her mother's missing. They know she's immobile, doesn't have her meds. Prayers to Savannah. Prayers to her mother. I hope that they find her immediately wherever she may be. And Savannah's siblings. She does have some siblings. And the church friend called her and said she went missing over the weekend. And hopefully she will be found soon. This was just 18 minutes ago. The new details have emerged. Pima County Sheriff Chris Nanos had that press conference that I just showed you and is being treated as a criminal investigation. If by chance you see anyone with her in the state of Arizona, please write that number down, call 911 immediately. And here is the short video on it. Why is my sound not working?
Investigators are searching for the mother of Today Show anchor Savannah Guthrie, and they're desperate for the public's help. 84-year-old Nancy Guthrie was reported missing near Tucson, Arizona on Sunday. The Pima County Sheriff's Office says they saw some things in the home that were concerning to them. While Guthrie's mom didn't have any known cognitive issues, she is in need of medication. In a statement, Savannah Guthrie thanked law enforcement.
And like I said, I hope that they find her very quickly. That is such a sad story. This could be anyone's mother, guys. This could be anyone's mother. So hopefully they do get an update and they find something about what happened, get some type of positive outcome. And I think even, she made a statement. She said, on behalf of our family, I want to thank everyone for the thoughts, prayers, and messages of support. Right now, our focus remains on the safe return of our dear mom. We thank law enforcement for their hard work on this case and encourage anyone with information to contact the Pima County Sheriff's Office, and listed their number with Savannah having this quote being said that I just read. So yeah, crime can happen anywhere, guys. And I'm not saying that, this is another wild thing, right? Another wild thing. So let's just keep on sending out good vibes, healing prayers for the sheriffs to find what happened. And, all we can do as a community is continuing to bring awareness to these issues at hand. And this is a pretty big one. When you have a missing loved one, I know what that's like. I don't know if I told you, but I've had 2 of my kids gone missing. One was over 18, but especially my son. Yeah, Savannah Guthrie is the co-star of, what is it? Good Morning America? I think it's Good Morning America. I think so, or the Today Show. Today Show. Here's another one real quick, and then I'm going to head over to give you an update on something else. Because I don't talk about anything else, you guys. I don't talk about anything else. Which we all know that's not true here. All right. So thank you so much, Amanda. She put it up on the screen for us so we can actually see that. Here's one more. So everybody gets all the details. We're all on the same page. Hopefully they'll get some news back today. Oh, doesn't want to play.
We believe now, after we process that crime scene, that we do in fact have a crime scene, that we do in fact have a crime. And we're asking the community's help. This community has always stepped up to help us solve some pretty tough crimes.
Yeah, especially in Pima County.
I'm looking for that again. This is a 84-year-old
what happened?
lady who suffers from some physical ailments, has some physical challenges, is in need of medication that if she doesn't have in 24 hours, it could be fatal. So we make a plea to anyone who knows anything about this, who has seen something, heard something, to contact us. Call 911. We don't need another bad tragic ending. We need some help.
Can you elaborate at all on what makes you believe it's a crime scene as opposed to someone who left home and just couldn't find her way back?
Well, I think I told you she is very limited in her ability, right? We know she didn't just walk out of there. That we know. There are other things at the scene that indicate there was a
struggle.
She did not leave.
Oh, he didn't want to say. Not a good thing. Not a good thing when they don't want to say. Okay, so hopefully we will get some update in that one. I'll keep an eye on that. Phoenix, you do an awesome job. I've seen you cover. Yeah, absolutely. I cover other things. I absolutely cover other things. Now, I've been recovering from this horrible whatever maybe a viral infection, respiratory, caused me to have an asthma response, which I don't have asthma, a bronchial issue. So thanks for bearing with me for the last couple of days, all the way into last week. And being out of the loop for a week was kind of hard, but you know what? Keep on going, right? That's my motto. You just keep on moving forward. So going back to this post that I made on, where am I at? YouTube. Hold on, let me grab it. Let me put it up on the screen for you so you see it. So going back to this post that I made, who's truly paying attention? Where were all the civil liberty advocates when a preliminary hearing was bypassed in favor of the grand jury, eliminating the opportunity for public examination and cross-examination of evidence? Now, we've heard the rumors after the grand jury happened that they were asking more questions about Dylan. I don't know how true that is, but apparently they believe the prosecutor and the PCA, which we know is a piece of crap now because the latest document drop has shown that Koberger's DNA wasn't even on the knife sheath, folks. How many of you know that by now? Did you read the documents? Holy hell. I was going through it last night and they gave us the runaround. They gave us the runaround. S1 and the document in regards to 1.5, item 1.5, let me grab it. It wasn't even DNA of Koberger, folks. They eliminated 1.5 and it was unknown male A, that they didn't know whose DNA it was. Unknown male A. They totally manipulated it. Yes, they did. I was going to make a video, but I keep coughing, and I was going to make a video with a little voiceover. Boy, I'm telling you, I was shocked when I read this. Let me find it again. Let me see if it's in here. Item 1.5. Let me grab the forensics documents. It's in there. I was alarmed. I was like, wait a minute. They knew the whole time. And since February of 2025, well, I'm sure they knew it way before then. Yes, I'm not playing games with you guys. I have no reason to lie. I'm just bringing you the facts of the information that they've given us. Here it is. 1.5. They took DNA, guys, of the inside swab of the inside surface of the blade portion, and there was DNA there. And they labeled it male A. Yes. You did not know that, lying bastards. Yes, they labeled it. Okay. Here's the deets in a short little synopsis. 1.5 was totally eliminated. The swab of the inside surface of the blade portion. They labeled them incorrectly also. Mind you, they didn't think anybody was going to recognize this. So then they went back and they said 1.1 was, let me grab it. 1.1 was the actual sheath, the swab, and they lied to us here too. They lied to us right here. Item 1.1, swab of front strap. Front strap. It wasn't the button. It was the front strap. You guys got to learn how to read, okay? I'm not saying you folks here watching, but the people who all said, oh, he's so guilty, he's so guilty, he's so guilty. We need to stay on track and don't get distracted by all these rumors and all these bots and all these people that are paid opposition, in my humble opinion. I think they're paid. I think they're paid, and some people are starting to call them out. Because here's the bigger picture. Swab of front strap. That's not the back button that we were told about. That's not it. I'm just like, they pulled the wools. And remember when I said a long while ago, Is this hoodwinked? Have we been duped and hoodwinked? They didn't know. They didn't know whose it was. It wasn't even Koberger. It wasn't even Koberger. Yes, that would be grounds for totally. Is that not what they say is exculpatory evidence? That should have been enough. It was not his DNA. Not his DNA. Yep. That's why they sent the actual sheath to Othram. Yep. You guys have got to put the pieces together. Look at these. I think they're busted. So busted. So freaking busted. Read through everything and then you'll get it. So in the new documents that dropped, they reference the STR. Hold on, let me pull it up. They had the expert go back and fix what was right. They were going to get her on the stand and basically say, you know what? Freaking liars. Now you're going to put this expert on the stand. Let me see where it says. Hold on. Here it is. It should be in 1.1. Let me see if I can find 1.1 in this document. Okay. So this should be S11, the expert, Catherine White. Okay. So they were going to have her get up on stand and explain the reference sample numbers and comparison, how an individual may be excluded as the contributor of DNA in the mixture profile. White was able to exclude a suspect as the source of DNA profile previously obtained from 1.1. So they said 1.1 was Koberger, and they were like, no, it wasn't. This conclusion is explained in White's report. White was the analyst tasked with performing presumptive testing, swabbing, and examination on several items taken from his place in Pennsylvania. They forward several of these items for DNA analysis. Further investigations can be found from the trash pool. Now, she's talking about specifically the Q-tip, okay? And they couldn't match it with 1.5, which was on the inside blade of the knife. And they couldn't match it with the button that they told us the button, but it was the front strap. Yes, folks, you have to go through and read these. So item 1.1 was the swab of the front strap. It was nothing. The media lied to us about this button crap. That's why we kept saying, how could it be on a button? Oh, shit. I'm not even showing this. I'm talking about this and I'm not even showing you. I apologize. I'll go back through it real quick. So it was inconclusive, right? So all this button strap that we were sold on the media, the button underneath the button, it is crazy. And it wasn't even the snap. It was the front strap. And these were the documents that were unsealed last week. Okay. And swab 1.2 were the edges of the handle portion, 1.3 swabs of edges on blade portion, and item 1.4 swabs of stain on back. And basically, he was eliminated from all this testing. Now, if you look at the documents and read them, 1.5 was totally eliminated because they knew it was male A, and he was not male A. Male E was, they were benchmarking that against Koberger's, because that was, I think, his dad's. Don't quote me on that. But it didn't even freaking, I'm not the only one that realized this. There's somebody who made a TikTok video this morning. Go out there and research. Don't believe me right off the bat. Go look and see what other people are saying about this. Go watch the experts that will talk about this next. Okay? Because most of the experts are not talking about this because they already know the little shenanigans, in my humble opinion, that went on in this case. And this is my point to my post about freedoms. These narrative pushers are pushing opposition to our constitutional rights. They're Americans. What the hell is wrong with these people? Where the hell were they? They were all saying he was guilty. He's guilty. He's guilty. What the heck are we seeing? I made another post about Xana. Let me do a refresh real quick. I made another post and it looks like maybe it didn't make it. Oh, here it is. Here it is. There are creators that are opposing our freedoms, that rally against our constitutional rights. How? The most dangerous idea spreading online right now isn't crime, isn't true crime. It's the belief that constitutional rights are optional, that due process only matters when we like the accused. That case is different, IDAHO4 case, and somehow rewrites the Constitution, because the movement we cheer on when rights are stripped from someone we hate, we've taught that the government can do the same to anyone. Justice doesn't collapse overnight, people. It erodes quietly, one exception at a time, while the crowd applauds. And history is very clear. Mark my words. When fear replaces law, innocence becomes irrelevant. Ask yourself why they're doing this. Do they really dislike our freedoms? Are they paid narrative pushers? Don't they realize what they're doing? They, put your own words after they. And let me be clear, the law is the law. And who is trying to change it? Well, folks, we've seen a lot of new bills come out of the IDAHO4. We've seen the one that I talked about the other day, and there is a representative in Idaho that is changing and trying to change the law in regards to people who have been convicted making money off their crimes. Well, what if you're freaking innocent? And this Republican happens to go to church with one of the families. I don't know which one. I don't know which church, but I'm sure it'll come out pretty soon. It's a Republican in Idaho. I found the story last night and I was like, you've got to be kidding. Something to do with the Son of Sam laws. 6 days ago, here it is. Yep, I can't make this stuff up. It is out there for you to go educate yourself and read and see what's going on. Now, I'll tell you, a lot of people are asking themselves the same questions. The most important post I've read so far today, talking about my post, I've shared it on my channel, Perfect Prisoner. That's me. I'm hoping to have the guts to start posting videos soon. I mean, the response that I have gotten from these last 2 posts of mine blew me away. Because, see, many are trying to get us off focus. Don't get distracted. Stay on track. Okay? Stay on track. Here's why. When you see this, it's going to start coming together. Here it is. 6 days ago, January 26, Boise, they're trying to introduce legislation seeking to bar religious and cultural law from factoring into court decisions and revise the state son of law to prevent profiting off criminal acts. Well, what if you're innocent? You can't make money if you're innocent? What in the hell? Now they're trying to tell people you can't make any money? What do you think about that? Drop your comments. All right, I'm going to drop the link right here to this so that you can read it for yourself. Yep. It is starting to Tammy Nichols. I've seen her before. I've talked to her before. I've seen her before. I know exactly who she is. Now, I will say there is another Republican that brought this forward right here. Excuse me. Now, I was I was a big advocate in Idaho when there were a couple of things going on, major newsworthy global issues. And I know quite a few people out in Idaho, folks. I didn't just sit on my hands and was a desperate housewife like some people would call me. And I was involved with a few issues out there, and I'm not going to name many of them. But does everybody remember, or anybody remember, Baby Cyrus? Yeah, I know Marissa, Baby Cyrus's mom. And we were huge advocates to go out there and advocate against St. Luke's and what they did to him. And the state, DHS. I have a lot of good connections there. I was actually interviewed by somebody who owns Health Freedom Idaho. And I'm passionate about our freedoms and our Constitution, especially not just because I'm ex-military, because you should know your constitutional rights. You should know them before someone tramples on them. I personally, with the help of my attorney, private, won my son back from the Department of Health and Welfare in Idaho, and it wasn't my doing that he ended up with them. I had to win him back. Yes, folks, in the game of court. Absolutely. So they want to update this legislation that's been in since 1978. So there's other laws that they're trying to change. They're talking about the killings of the University of Idaho and the 2025 ambush of firefighters in Coeur d'Alene. Now, why would they be talking about the 2025 ambush and the IDAHO4 in the same sentence? Anyone? Anyone want to gamble and take a guess? They talk specifically about them. They want to change this bill and put it into escrow accounts if they make any. And it limits exceptions for payment to criminal perpetrators. And I cannot believe that some of these senators are even senators. Do you think she even looked in to see if he was even guilty? Do you think she read some paperwork or anything like that, or the DNA from the experts? I would be embarrassed to bring a bill and talk about this University of Idaho 4. I would be embarrassed. And it says the main concern, constitutional risk in Idaho statute. What do you think? I mean, they're saying that this guy, and this was really important the other day that I uncovered, guys. I was blown away. I was blown away. When there was the FBI probe into Brian Koberger, I found a document that said the FBI made a statement and a quote, and it said, let me show you. They weren't going to get involved because the murderer never crossed state lines. Can you believe this shit? I'm about to get feisty, so hold on to your britches. Right. November 17, 2022. Elite FBI unit joins probe into University of Idaho murders. Students remembered. In this document, there was someone... Hold on a minute. Why is this doing this? I must have my FBI agent kicking me offline. Okay. I did find this document on November 17th that they did release who allegedly killed 4 University of Idaho students, and they did say that it was a edged weapon such as a knife. Okay, I did find that. Investigators believed it was an isolated targeted attack, no imminent threat to the community at large. When there was a statement put out by the FBI, they basically felt they didn't take over because the murderer never crossed state lines. Did you guys not remember this? Have you guys looked into this?
We bring in Judge Janine Pirro, co-host of The Five. She is live in Hollywood, Florida, ahead of the big Patriot Awards ceremony tonight. Janine, this is a really complex case here, and there are so many obvious questions, but I want to know what's jumping out at you right now.
Well, what's jumping out at me is, why does it take a police department 4 days to say that there can be a danger to the community? Right off the bat, I'm concerned about this police department. That's number one. Number two, where did the mayor come off saying this is a crime of passion? Number three, why did it take us so long to find out that there were 2 other kids in that apartment? Number four, if there was a bleeding out of these 4 young people, that tells me that this was as brutal as they said, but that there were also can be footprints from the blood stains. We've got to look for that. That's something the police should be looking for. State police, the FBI are now involved, as well they should have been right from the get-go. This is a police department that has not had a homicide in at least, 6 years. And in addition to that, how is it that one person that they're looking for, one person they're so clear about, was able to slaughter 4 young, strong individuals? Yeah. Maybe they came in at different times. Maybe it happened between 3 and 4 in the morning. We don't know for sure. But what I do know is there is no way one person does this to 4 people unless they've been bound, gagged, and I don't know if one person can do all that, or unless they're incapacitated in some way. Yeah. The medical examiner says there's no indication of any kind of substance that might have incapacitated them, but how does she know? You don't get the toxicology back for a couple of weeks. What I also want to know is whether or not there is a connection between this and what happened in September, where they had a guy with a blue backpack, dressed in black, with a black baseball cap, who had a knife, a vicious-looking knife, like this Rambo knife. Why are they so convinced it's only one knife? How do they know there weren't 2 knives? And in addition to all of this, who were the enemies? Who was in the house? I'm not saying that they were enemies, but how could you not know? There is bleeding out of that house, Martha, from inside to outside.
Extraordinary.
So there's a lot to look for.
You make great points. There were 2 people in the house, we now know, who were not killed in this. And we know roughly what kind of weapon was used, but you make the point that occurred to me as well on this. How do you kill 4 young, able-bodied people, unless they are somehow bound or restrained or incapacitated by some kind of means? It's an extraordinarily awful story as we head into Thanksgiving for these 4 families, but there are so many questions. Janine, thank you.
I hate that she cut her off. I would have loved to see more of that. Would you guys agree? Drop a 1. This is right from the FBI's website. I'm not going to read it all, but I'm just going to tell you, here's an excerpt. It says, basically, and this was in response to why they didn't take over this case federally. It says clearly, robbery also is outlawed in every state, but not a federal offense unless there is some connection with the federal government, such as robbery of a federally insured bank. Law enforcement agencies, especially federal, will investigate a crime only if there's a reason to believe that the crime violated federal law. Second, the nature of the federal offense may determine which agency undertakes the investigation. Not every federal law agency has the responsibility to investigate every crime. For example, The Secret Service is responsible for investigating counterfeit of currency. The FBI is the lead federal agency for terrorism cases. And basically says that, that they will handle each case if it relates federally, which is like, okay, that is why they didn't take it a federal case. Now, in an earlier synopsis that I read, it basically said that if it had been a murderer crossed the state lines and committed a murder, they would be happy to take it. But that makes me think, in my humble opinion, the FBI knew the murderer was in Idaho. Hell freaking hello. Now, I think they blocked Judge Janine from saying what she really wanted to say because she cut her off so fast. Cut her off so fast. And the FBI will never release that. I don't think they'll release anything. The government doesn't have to, even under the Freedom of Information Act. He was never guilty. So how is he even related to this case? What are your thoughts about that? How is he even related to the IDAHO4 case? How did his name ever get brought up? I mean, I want to really talk about how the hell the killers got out. If there was no known footprints leading from Xana to anywhere else, Xana's bedroom, if there were none, then how in the hell did the killer get out? And this is not like a mystery whodunit. This is put our heads together and really think about this. And the answer is very simple, folks. We know there was cleanup. And we know that the cleanup was enough to erase. And someone just told me to get, you better give me that thumbs up button real quick. Someone told me to get something to, hold on a minute. I want to see what they said. Hold on. Oh, Phoenix, you need to get Seneca and ammonia from chemists to decongest your chest. Yeah, I'm actually on two different things. One's holistic and one's a medication right now. I've never had any asthma issues. This viral infection that I got is awful. But you just hit the nail on the head. It reminded me to talk about this. So how would you think that the killer got out of the house? Now, I know for a fact that I would never cover tracks for a criminal. I would never clean up a crime scene for a criminal, which makes me think that this was all planned out and they had somebody come in and clean. And if this was all staged and planned and prepared ahead of time, you would probably need someone smart in the field of criminology so that you can offset Blue Star. You would need a chemist that could tell you how to clean up a crime scene and not get latent prints, not get any prints, protein stains, nothing. How and who would know how to do something like that? How and what? Who? Who would know how to offset Blue Star? And maybe that's what they don't want people talking about it, because that's their primary use, to find blood by using Blue Star. So you would probably need a chemist that would know how to offset Blue Star. I mean, this is pretty high up there, guys. Okay? So if you're following what I'm saying, they would need to know how to make Blue Star not react. I mean, I'm not a chemist, but my first comes to hydrogen peroxide, right? That's the first thing I think of. That's the first thing I think of, because it's supposed to react with proteins. And if there's blood there, then hydrogen peroxide could possibly offset it. And I'm just guessing. I don't know. Let me see if it will offset blue star stain. Because I think their hydrogen peroxide can enhance the detection of blood stains using blue star forensic reagent. I'm wrong. Because when blue star is mixed with hydrogen peroxide, it catalyzes catalyzes the reaction, producing a bright blue luminescence chemically and indicating the presence of blood. This reaction is often on surfaces that have been cleaned or rinsed, making a valuable tool for forensic investigations. Okay, so hydrogen peroxide will only enhance it. So what's the opposite, or what can you take to make it not appear? Sodium hydroxide. Somebody out there has to know, because I guarantee you that's exactly what they did at the 1122 cleanup, guys. And I'm just thinking, this is just my train of thought. Who was the cleanup guy? Who could have been the cleanup guy that knew all this about Blue Star or luminol? I mean, the cleanup was done outside the bedrooms. We know that now. There was some type of cleanup, and they knew exactly where to clean up. They missed some spots. But where in the world did they get that information? Somebody, chemist, criminology? Who? Help me out, guys. I'm not alone in this. Some type of chemical cleanup that would make Blue Star not shown. SG? I don't know about that. No, Phoenix, they used a spray bottle under somebody's bed. I saw that. A university filled with very educated people. Yep. I would say so, probably. I would probably say so. Somebody who knew that they needed to cover up these killers' real identities. Somebody was, but I don't know if they had the know-it-all. Josie was a criminologist. Aftermath crime cleanup crew, maybe. HOCI. Maybe. Oh, maybe. Let me see. Hydrochloric acid. Could be. Possible. I don't know. I'm saying I don't know, but it's a possibility. Somebody with that kind of knowledge and going in there and making sure that they were not going to detect any results that would lead them back to the real killer. And they missed a couple spots. They didn't do a very good job, obviously. Not a fabulous job, in my humble opinion. But remember the video I showed you on detecting blood with luminol or Blue Star after hydrogen peroxide is used? Do you guys remember that? Okay, play that again. Maybe I didn't play this yet for you. This guy is knowledgeable. Now, watch this video since I'm talking about it. I just looked it up. Watch this video and tell me what you think about this. Where'd it go? Here it is. Let me put it on stage. Back in the day when I gave a presentation, I would just have somebody working the presentation and I'd talk. Now I have to do it all. Hold on. Here we go.
In one of my last videos, I showed you how you can use Blue Star or luminol to find blood that's been cleaned up. And a lot of people commented about whether or not you could use hydrogen peroxide to clean the blood. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to clean with hydrogen peroxide and still see if the Blue Star can pick up the traces of blood afterwards. Let's clean it. Gonna hit it with a double dose. Now I'm gonna I cleaned it with my hydrogen peroxide. Now I'm going to hit it with my Blue Star. Clean rug, shut the lights, spray with the Blue Star. You can see the beautiful chemical luminescence with the blue glow of the Blue Star interacting with the blood left behind. There you have it, carpet cleaned with hydrogen peroxide, the Blue Star.
Okay, so I know, I love the way he explains these videos. So I am going to actually go back and let me see real quick if he has, no, I don't see anything. Let me see, hold on. Sure, he's not going to give us the answer, but I'm going to message him. I'm going to ask him if he has any thoughts on what I just said. I'm going to message him. But here's the deal. When you start looking at who did the cleanup, they had to have known. I'm going to guess baking soda will remove almost anything. OxyClean, that's a good one. I mean, if you, okay, let's not get ahead of me here. Because I'm going to tell you, here we go down the rabbit hole, and I don't want to go too far today. But I'm going to tell you, since my lives are unscripted, I'm going to go on a little quick of a live dig, and let's talk about this. Let's talk about this. Now, what happened with this? What do you think in your mind happened with this print that they were able to find? Did the cleanup didn't realize there was a print there? Somebody maybe washed it with something else, and then voila, they've got a print? What happened with this print? Because this one print was missed during the AKA cleanup. I'm just wondering whose vans these were, because they did say they were van-like shoe print. And they already took away everybody's, look up sodium pentacarb. Now, I'm not here trying to help people commit crimes and clean up, guys. That's not my goal. I am just telling you to think outside of the realm of possibilities that this was a cleanup job. We know it was. And somebody forgot to clean up a print right here because maybe they didn't know that print was there. Because there were a couple of other blood marks that they obviously got. Unknown male A, unknown male C. There are still more than meets the eye that we don't see in this cleanup. Tons more. So let me find something that was very interesting. Now, since I don't talk about other things, hold that thought about the cleanup. When's the last time officers wear Vans, Chloe? Unknown male DNA, yeah, under bloody nails. They got sloppy. Whoops, I'm just going to leave that van print there. Yeah. Well, since others say that I don't talk about other things, have you guys seen this? I mean, it happened like 5 months ago, but this is wild. Let me grab it. Let me grab it real quick. Here we go. This story was wild. I was like, what?
So following a developing story out of North Harris County where federal prosecutors just unsealed a sweeping indictment against the leaders of a so-called Houston-based ministry. But investigators say that it was actually a forced labor trafficking ring that was pulling in tens of millions of dollars. Our Devon Roming has more from the scene.
Well, guys, this former hotel here behind me off of the North Freeway is one of several ministry campuses belonging to Joshua Mead Media Ministries International, which is now the focus of a massive FBI operation tied to federal charges. Federal officials say 53-year-old David Taylor and 56-year-old Michelle Brandon were arrested today in North Carolina as part of a nationwide operation. A grand jury in Michigan returned a 10-count indictment charging them with conspiracy, forced labor, and money laundering. Prosecutors allege Taylor and Brandon ran the Kingdom of God Global Church, formerly Joshua Media Ministries International. They're accused of using physical and psychological abuse to control followers, forcing them to work long hours in call centers to solicit donations. Investigators say victims were subject to humiliation, sleep deprivation, and even physical assault if they failed to meet fundraising goals. Federal officials allege Taylor lived lavishly off nearly $50 million in donations since 2014, buying luxury homes, cars, boats, and jet skis. The FBI says the takedown spanned multiple states, including right here in Texas, along with Florida and Missouri. Now, if convicted, both face up to 20 years in prison for each of the 3 major charges. In North Houston, Devon Romming, KHOU 11 News.
I don't ever remember hearing that. Did anybody? I mean, this is just so bizarre. The network that they built, this guy living in these lavish homes, multi-million-dollar homes. It's freaking wild. I mean, I don't keep up with all the news, but I was a little curious because, yeah, I know, guys, nothing to do with it. Yeah. I don't know what that was. I mean, if you think about it, this guy was collecting millions of dollars. Millions. Homes. Oh my gosh, I just removed myself on accident. But crazy that we have these type of people running out there acting like they're running a church, they're doing good for others, and then they were basically trafficking for forced labor. Why would people do that type of thing? I mean, it just baffles my mind. Are most small town people or people in, I mean, are we really seeing what we're supposed to be seeing? Is there a possibility that could be related to this case? I don't know. I'm just thinking outside the perimeters of what we've been told. Everything been told, sold is a freaking lie. And how does that affect us? Why are these creators pushing bullshit? I mean, I just got a lot on my mind in regards to the IDAHO4 in this case. Why do you think they would be pushing this in this realm of getting rid of our own rights? These are our constitutional rights. Either Brian Kohberger is just an innocent bystander, or he's a pawn in a very dangerous game with some pretty powerful people. Because here's the deal. These social media influencers that are pushing the fake narrative, they get those clicks that are given to them because of outrage. They certainly get followers. But if they start telling the truth, they're going to lose those followers. All the platform they've built, they're going to lose those followers. Constitutional rights live in the gray: due process, presumption of innocence, suppression hearings. Those don't hit emotionally the way lock him up forever does. Trash bucket number 16. Think about it. We need to be more aware. We are being deceived. See, those media influencers, they confuse rights with helping the defendant. See, they think they're helping the defendant if they show, oh, he's factually innocent. No, folks, that's your constitutional right. And there is a huge misconception online. If you defend rights, you must defend the accused. And that is the biggest misinformation out there. That is false. Defending constitutional process does not mean defending guilt or innocence. And I've said that before. If Brian Koberger is guilty, show us how. But if he's factually innocent, we need to fight for our constitutional process and rights in the law. They must be getting paid to look the other way. I wouldn't. I'm an American. If I was accused of something, and I hope that none of these creators ever get accused of something like this, you have the right to due process. If somebody gets slammed with a defamation case, you have the right to due process. You have the right to remain silent. You have the right to get an attorney, and you have the right to prove your innocence. Oh, being threatened with a lawsuit, a defamation lawsuit, Miss ESQ that is put up there because she thinks that she's a public defender, that we're all going to get sued. They're trying to use scare tactics, fear tactics. Don't let them get you not talking about this case, because talking about your constitutional right is your constitutional right. It's your First Amendment rights. You want to come at me and sue me? You better be ready, because I don't lose. And if I can, I will use everything I have to win. See, the deal is fear, scare them, and they'll stop. But their retaliation is, oh, we're gonna lawsuit you because you're defaming us. Well, you need to understand what defamation is. And you need to understand that if you bring a false, litigious lawsuit against someone, you can countersue them and they could lose. You could win. Know your rights. Because it's a pain in the ass getting countersued, because you might lose. And it brings further exposure of those individuals that are litigious. See, because most of these influencers tie their identity to justice for the victims. Justice for the families. The families want you to stop talking. Now I'm on a rant. Treat any rights discussion as betrayal. It was horrible and heinous what he did. Well, in my humble opinion, it was horrible and heinous what these murderers did, and they got away with it, and they're laughing, and they're probably living it up and partying and doing whatever they want to, and watching all of us talk about it. But the doors, the walls, the windows are closing in, and Lady Justice will rear its head, and we will reset the clocks. There's no time delta when truth comes out. I just have to say, they try to capture an audience as if it was real. See, because if once the creator audience leans the other way, the creator becomes trapped. They suddenly say, oh, he deserved a real hearing. Grand juries aren't adversarial. Due process matters even now. They risk losing followers, being accused of supporting a killer. I didn't see anybody prove he was a killer. Oh, he took the death penalty off if he pled so that he could live to prove his innocence. Okay, I get it. Oh, and then they get mass reported and deplatformed. That's their whole goal, is to get you quiet, silence you, shut you up. They're going to double down this week, folks, because I'm bringing the heat. Even when they know better, they double down. Some genuinely don't understand the Constitution. I think these people are educated in the Constitution. Some of these creators are married to military. Some of these people are in the legal expertise area. But then there's some that are just plain don't even study it, don't understand a grand jury versus preliminary hearings, don't even think the judge approved it. It's constitutional. No, honey, no. The judge is bound by the same constitutional rights. And when they say he had rights, what more do you want? They often don't even know that rights were waived, denied, or bypassed. The ignorance of these creators And their confidence is dangerous online. Notice I didn't put any pictures up. Notice I didn't call out any certain creators, but they know exactly who I'm talking about because they come in here, they watch my lives, they talk amongst themselves, and they make videos, and they have doubled down hard. Here's the deal. Some creators psychologically align with the prosecutors, with law enforcement, with the system. They assume that the state is right, defense is an obstruction, and rights are obstacles. Here's the mindset that naturally leads to justify rights erosion as long as it's happening to someone else they dislike. See, here's the deal. I'm going to give you a picture, and I want you to think about this for a minute. Let me grab his picture. I want you to see what the media is doing. I want to open your eyes. Now, you have free will to believe it or not, okay? You have 100% free will here. What happened when this individual was arrested? What happened when this guy was arrested, people? He had droves of women. Oh, he couldn't be guilty. He couldn't be guilty. I think they're playing a game with us. I think they're playing a serious game with us. Because he's too good looking to do something like that. He's way too good looking. He could never do anything like that. Think about it for a minute. And then, what did they do? They paraded this guy in front of us and said, he's the killer. 100% the killer. And everybody believed him. Think about this, folks. That this case drives you wild, and they violated all his rights because he's not good looking. He was a problem. They said all this and that, even though he was 100% cleared from any wrongdoing at WSU. Yes, this crime was horrific. So normal rules don't apply? Because this case is different, we can bend the rules this once? Versus this? Yeah, he is fine. But if he did it, he's still guilty. See, the Constitution was written specifically for moments of fear, anger, and certainty, not for easy cases, folks. And people, creators that keep raising these issues like I do, are uncomfortable because you disrupt the simple narratives they're selling. You force legal literacy. You make people understand what's going on. You remind them that justice is not vengeance. It's not popular to sit here and tell you this, but it's necessary. They could talk bad about me all they want all day long. First it was my eyebrows, then I'm a desperate housewife, and then guys, then they break down, oh, if you're a criminal. No, I'm not a criminal. I've never been convicted of anything, charged but dismissed. Yes. See, look at the creator and determine and undermine the due process. Are they undermining due process? Are they? See, constitutional rights are not a reward, folks. They're not earned by good behavior or good looking or rich. They're not revoked by public anger. They exist precisely for moments when emotions run high. What does that mean? If rights only apply when the public agrees with you, they're not rights. Those are privileges. This is why you need to know your rights. Grand juries are not hearings. People will say, I've heard a creator say he had his day in court. He didn't have no day in court. There was no cross-examination. There was no defense evidence. There was no adversarial testing. Shit, they wouldn't even let him do anything. Hitler. Wow. I won't even go there yet. And rights just don't disappear, folks. This case is not different. Pouring me some water. Oh, and I'm so excited about this weekend. My studio is getting a whole renovation. I am so freaking exciting. I have been waiting long for this. So what do you think? Do you think there was a double standard set here in the media versus this? Yeah, I agree, Brenda. They never allowed anyone. They didn't let him have his day in court. Damn, you broke it down. I hope I broke it down so simple for you guys to understand. What are your constitutional rights? That's a great question. Presumptive of innocence. That means that you have the right to be seen as innocent until proven guilty. The right to counsel. The right to confront your accusers. The witnesses. The right to fair trial and public trial. Protection from government overreach. See, those are restraints on the government, not privileges granted by public opinion. Sixth Amendment of the United States Constitution. We have to fight back intelligently. Why are these creators pushing back on our rights? We have to stay focused. Don't get distracted, folks. Every little tiny bit of evidence that we find, they're getting hot because they already know that we put 2 and 2 together, that it wasn't even Koberger's DNA at the end of the day. Now what are they going to do? What are they freaking going to do? He was tried by the media, just as Ann said. 100 freaking %. And let me tell you, we are not dumb. We are not stupid. And we will not go away. Have you guys seen, let me play his video today. I thought it was freaking powerful. It's about time that some people start calling out those who should be called out. It is truly controlled opposition. They don't want you to know what they don't want you to know. Totally 100% manipulated in the media. Why? Because the media is always right. They're the big corporations that can tell us what to do. Did you guys see Harsh Reality today? I'm going to show you myself. I hope he doesn't mind. Shout out to him.
Well, hello there. How is everyone? I hope you're all well. You're amazing, beautiful, wonderful people. This video is going to be quite an uncomfortable one as we talk about something that is, a little bit room splitting, and that is controlled opposition. Now, we speak often about sisters that we talk about, and we wonder whether there are people within the comments down below or even content creators who are here for one purpose and one purpose alone, and that is to try to take our attention away from where it really needs to be. Kind of like the film Lucky Number 11, where they talk about the Kansas City Shuffle, where you're looking over here at this while what you need to be looking at is happening over there. Now, over the last few hours, I've spoken about content creators talking about certain things. And it raised a point in my mind. And it was that we've basically got a situation where you have guilters who believe Brian Koberger did this crime. They trust the establishment. They trust the narrative being pushed. And if you consider that they're wrong, then you are a conspiracy theorist. That's it. And we don't need to go into that anymore. They're just people who believe in the establishment, trust the establishment, and believe that if you don't, then You're an idiot. You're a fool. And that it's more comfortable for them to believe the establishment, and it's uncomfortable for them to believe anything else could be possible, or they just don't care. They just follow the trend. And the trend in the IDAHO4 case was to believe that Brian Kohberger was guilty of this crime. And if you stepped outside of that, then you was swimming against the current. Or look, you've then got a different type of person. That is the people who believe that Brian Kohberger could potentially be innocent of this crime. And these individuals then spur off once again with, I believe, two very distinct groups of people. And that is those that believe that this was quite personal, potentially frats involved, people who knew these individuals. And then you've got people who believe that it could have been triggered by something on the peripheral of these individuals' lives. And then we go down the route of a narcotics related incident. Now, I'm going to premise this by saying I don't know what happened. I can only speculate. I can only assume certain things and go by what evidence that we have seen. The evidence to this day has not been able to convince me of Brian Kohberger's solitary involvement. Absolutely not. Yes, he's admitted to doing the crime, but he's admitted to it under what I would call duress. He was locked away for a prolonged period of time. He was facing a barrage of bias. The public, for the most part, believed that he was guilty before he entered the courtroom. There had been multiple publications that had crucified him, with more coming around the start of an impending trial. The judge was showing signs of bias and wasn't really willing to listen to anything, sometimes even laughing at statements made by the defense, and always listening attentively, if that's even a word, to the prosecution, going as far as to call a professional in the realms of cloud data forensics or mobile forensics, someone who was an absolute specialist, being deemed as a conspiracy theorist, when quite rightfully raising concerns about things getting wrong. That's what this guy was facing. If it had gone to trial and found guilty of this crime under these circumstances, it's very likely that he would have potentially been executed by way of firing squad. So I don't know what happened, and you don't know what happened. We can only assume. But what is glaringly obvious is that there seems to be individuals within the niche that are protecting their thoughts. And what I mean is they're so ferocious against other things being potentials that I wonder why. Yes, you could conclude that I believe that this was narcotics related. So first of all, let's look at what we know about this crime scene. We seemingly know that these individuals were executed in their bedrooms, that after things were done, they were covered up. Even Ethan Chapin, his injuries were covered. Now, the covering of these individuals and potential staging of the crime scenes, in my opinion, doesn't go hand in hand with narcotics related. If this was cartel, for instance, I don't believe that they would be staging the bodies. I don't believe that they would be covering them. The covering of bodies is almost like being a little bit ashamed of what you did. There's an emotional connection there, in my opinion, of course. In my opinion, you do something and then you're trying to hide what you did. And I don't believe that that is indicative of a cartel, narcotics-related death. I don't believe so. I don't believe anything that we've seen from the actual crime scene is indicative of cartel. Even when we now, if you watch the video one, if you didn't, go and watch it after this one, of course, we're talking about the fact that much of the blood that was found outside of the bedrooms was diluted. Diluted as in cleanup. It was an attempt to be cleaned, to be hidden. We also have eyewitness statements that are seemingly suggesting that they see an individual in the house who just happens to be potentially carrying an implement to do with cleaning. How coincidental. Again, I don't believe that if this was cartel, narcotics related, that they would have stuck around to start trying to clean, to hide what was happening within this house. We have an 8-hour time delay between when these crimes happened, at least, and when help was requested. You know what I mean? The call was made, which again, I don't think that you could put that down to narcotic related incidents. That's more like the people who was around this crime had to have time to determine how they were going to show this to the world. How are we going to show everything to the world? We have a contaminated crime scene, heavily contaminated crime scene. So I don't think that from a narcotics-related standpoint, the crime scene itself supports that. Individuals, 2 families in particular, that are connected to the narcotics world. So there is a peripheral connection to it. But the crime itself, the crime scene itself, I don't personally think that that supports it. But what it does support, in my opinion, is someone who knew these individuals on a personal level, that they potentially knew where the individuals were in this house. They knew what rooms they were in. They knew where to go. They knew how to maneuver around this house in the dark or semi-dark. They knew the house would be unlocked because they had prior knowledge, potentially passed from someone within that house. And they had time. They had time to stay in there with people who were in the house and do the aforementioned potential cleaning up of the crime scene, which in my opinion points to more of a frat theory connection. I think that there's more things that connect back to the university and to potential fraternities, sororities, involvement or knowledge than cartel. So why would people who they lay heavily on the cartel side of things or the narcotic side of things so ferociously try to protect that narrative and almost vilify anyone who goes down the other route, when, in my opinion, of course, that there are indicators that support the theory just as much, if not more. Case in point being, literally this last issue that we've raised with the timing advance reports, with one of the numbers potentially being Kelly Showalter's, or at least someone from the Showalter family. Why would a Showalter number be connected to this crime? Can you remember right at the beginning? A certain individual with the initials JS on them. But if this number within the time and advance report is indeed connected to the Showalter family, then you have to raise the question as to why would this individual be connected to this property and their phone be around this property at this time? Again, could be completely coincidental. But again, why are we not raising it? Why are we not questioning it? Why are we not going back down the route of, hold on a second, we've got a crime that's screaming multiple perpetrator crime. We've got a house that was knocked down after being acquired by the university and buried. We've got a crime scene that was cleaned up, looks to have been cleaned up with blood being diluted. We've got other blood that seemingly weren't tested, and the excuses given for doing so not making any sense. I spoke about this in video 1. We can't put anything in CODIS because we've already put something in CODIS, and we can't do that because of the queuing system or whatever, however they worded it. Load of shite. But the DNA around Brian Kohberger seems to be very convoluted, yet you've got literal blood stains everywhere in this property that are not being tested. And not only are some of them not being tested, but you've got other bits of blood around the beer pong table that are, in one instance, they're attributed to Xena, and then later on that's retracted and they've changed it and said, well, actually, we don't know, and we didn't test it, or we tested it and there was no conclusion. So there's loads of DNA around this case and around this actual scene that either weren't tested, and again, the reasons for not testing them is stupid, and I don't believe that they wouldn't test it all. And what does exist is seemingly showing signs of an attempt to remove.
So basically, he said it in a nutshell. The opposition is heavy because the truth is now out there. And if you hadn't seen the documents, go back and read the documents. They are on Justice for All. And let's listen to the rest of his video.
And you've also got, finally, a situation where there's not blood transfer within all of the individuals, which, again, is multiple weapon. So did one person have multiple weapons, or were there multiple people with one weapon each? Who knows? Wounds don't match. That was a statement from earlier. So multiple people. But again, controlled opposition, does it exist? Do people go out there to try and control where people are looking, what people are listening to try to stop them going and looking in certain directions? If so, why? Why wouldn't everybody just be open to listening to other people's opinions? Like I say, with respect to the narcotics, I can't 100% rule it out because I don't know. But what I certainly can't rule out is fraternity, sorority, involvement, and or knowledge of this crime. Not when, as aforementioned, the crime is screaming multiple perpetrator. It's screaming cleanup. It's screaming, look at the delay in reporting this crime. It doesn't make sense.
All right, so there you have it. Let me give you some stats real quick before I go. Did you know that the Desperate Housewives was such a popular show that every year over 17 million minutes of it is watched? That to me is huge. Do you know how much 17 minutes is? That's about 32 years of viewing every year. Isn't that freaking wild? I mean, I used to watch this show. I loved the content. Creator was great. They won so many awards: Primetime Emmy Awards, Golden Globe Awards, Screen Actor Guilds Awards, People Choice Awards, GLAAD Media Awards. They won so much, and they made millions of dollars. So I would only hope, and I'm so honored to be put as a desperate housewife. But before I go, how many of you watch this show? I enjoyed it. I'm no desperate housewife, but I am going to show you what I am doing in my spare time. And I'm going to plug my other account over on TikTok. If you haven't followed me yet, feel free to do so if you like to see DIY and home things done, like sourdough bread, baking, all kinds of interesting things. And here's a quick video. This is my Loaf and Home channel.
For every glimmer I notice, for every small moment of beauty, for every instance of joy in my day. Good glimmers are proof that I'm blessed. Glimmers are my favorite thing now. Glimmers everywhere I'm noticing. Glimmers everywhere I'm collecting. These little moments of pure joy. Glimmers everywhere, my new toy. I'm hunting for glimmers. Ooh, I'm grateful for every glimmer I notice, for every small moment.
All right. So I am not at home bored and I'm not a desperate housewife, but let me share this last thing before I go today. Thank you for being here and making this a safe place for everyone to just have a safe outlet. I shared this the other day. Something happened over this weekend in Flagstaff, Arizona. I am in Arizona. This is sad, but another frat.
In Flagstaff are in custody facing criminal hazing charges after an 18-year-old man was found dead this morning. Investigators believe this all happened because of a fraternity rushing event at Delta Tau Delta last night.
This is
Three
terrible.
20-year-olds, Carter Eslick, Ryan Creech, and Riley Cass, are in the Coconino County Jail tonight. We're still working to get more details on this, and we'll keep you updated as we learn more about this criminal hazing investigation.
Not the only state it happens.
Time now is 7:03. Let's get to our top stories on this Sunday morning. We now know the names of the 3 NAU students facing charges in the death of another student. 20-year-old. Now know the names of the 3 NAU students facing charges in the death of another student. 20-year-olds Carter Eslick, Ryan Creech, and Riley Cass are in the Coconino County Jail this morning facing criminal hazing charges. This comes after authorities found an 18-year-old man dead at a home near the university campus this weekend. Investigators believe this was connected to a fraternity rushing event at Delta Tau Delta Friday night at an off-campus residence. NAU releasing the following statement regarding the situation, saying, quote, NAU is mourning the tragic death of a student on Saturday. This is a devastating loss, and our hearts are with his family, friends, and all the members of our community who are grieving.
Now, all 3 of them were taken into custody and face a criminal charge of hazing. Why not murder?
Statement went on to say that the safety and well-being of students is the university's highest priority. We're working to find out exactly how the student died, and we'll keep you posted as police release more.
And what's sad is this happens more than you know. I think there should be more public awareness on issues like these. I mean, parents, protect your kids. I guess that's the PSA. Protect your kids. Speak of the dangers of these frats and sororities. And this whole rushing, this is nothing like I've seen before. Now, I've seen some things in the military, but this is wild. Drop your thoughts and comments.
Now, obviously, they put him on the front page. There was a statement about the death. They didn't charge him with murder. They charged him with hazing. It blows my mind. These guys were all over on social media. Wait till you see what I caught. Obviously, these were the 3 that were shared.
They say 3 people in Flagstaff are in custody facing.
Just blows my mind. Haven't these fraternities, don't they have some safe training? Don't they have any? Oh God, it irritates me. I'll be back tomorrow. Look out for the time. It is diabolical. Someone needs to stand up for these young college students that are, I don't want to say targeted, but obviously this happened to someone who was not very aware of what evil people can do. Thank you, mods, for being here. Yeah, that's the word I'm looking for. They don't have any empathy. This is someone's child who was taken too soon. Way too soon. These monsters have to stop. Be well, everyone. Listen to my music. Thank my mods. A lot of love on the way out. And yes, I'm feeling better, finally.
February air, a winter's hush, a different kind of love, a sacred rush. For the roses is all the fleeting glance, before the scales and a fighting chance. We're the phoenix nesters watching from the wire, seeing shadows fall, fueling the fire. Every story buried, every silent tear. Here comes a promise whispered, conquering the fear. Oh, Lady Justice, can you feel the shift arise? A love for the truth deflected in our eyes. We're turning the pages, breaking all the locks. This is our true crime, resetting all the clocks. They sold you a story, a neatly packaged lie, but the threads are unraveling under a watchful sky. From the cold case files to the digital trace, we're finding a heartbeat in this forgotten space. Oh, Lady Taro space, can you feel the shift arise? A love for the truth reflected in our eyes. Returning the pages, breaking all the locks. This is a true crime, resetting all the clocks. From the ashes of silence, a new day is born. For every lost soul, a promise is sworn. The blindfold is lifted, steady and slow. A garden of justice is starting to grow. A shift to arise, pure justice. A Lady Justice.
Brian has been essentially convicted in the media. He has a right to have this information withheld, brought out in public, so that people can see it's not this neat little package. So people can start to wonder if Brian's innocent. Your Honor, Brian is innocent. So if I talk about things that are in the affidavit, and if I talk about things that we're seeking that the state wants to hide, I think that's fair game for the public to hear.